Hey there, gentlemen, and definitely not ladies. This is the Resport podcast, aka the RRS pod, and I'm back from like a almost 3-week hiatus, sabbatical, whatever you want to call it. I had spring break, and I actually brought my equipment with me. I packed it, I did the whole thing. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to keep with this, it's going to be good. I'm going to be, I'm going to stick with it, have some kind of stick-to-itiveness in my life in some capacity for once. And I did it. So, not sure what that says about me as a person, but I guess, here we are 3 weeks later. Time flies when you're a piece of garbage, evidently. And I was going through topics, and, with that much time, there's plenty of things to cover. But I knew for sure I had to cover NFL free agency and what went down with that. And so I started, making my notes. Got to flap the paper to show they're real. And I realized, oh my God, here I am, really 8 pages later, and I haven't even gotten past just NFL free agency. So this shows it's just going to be NFL free agency recap for you people who did not keep up with it like I did. I didn't actually keep up with it. I just Googled it after the fact. But I have it all here, and I have some winners and losers and some other interesting teams of note. I'm not going to go through all 32 teams because that's just half of them are not worth talking about. They're just whatever moves. But yeah, we can kick this thing off. Just like that. The winners of NFL free agency. We begin alphabetically with the Chicago Bears. They managed to address their 2 weakest areas on their roster. Offensive weapons, because Howard and Cohen were not enough. It's kind of hard to run an offense when your only discernible assets are both running backs. Although it was interesting to watch. They got Allen Robinson, Taylor Gabriel, Trey Burton, all in free agency. Trey Burton, by the way, is an underground fantasy stud next year, so write that name down. As an Eagles fan, I know that. I mean, none of these contracts are that terrible. There's always a concern with Allen Robinson because he's coming off a torn ACL or something. So, but other than that, I like Taylor Gabriel. He's a nice little gadget player. Like I said, I like Trey Burton. Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's probably not going to matter because Mitchell Trubisky probably still sucks. But hey, you got to try stuff, right? So they did. Props to them. Also addressed their defensive secondary, which was the other incredibly weak point of their team. Kept Kyle Fuller. Is that the guy they kept or the guy they like? I don't know. Kyle Fuller to a big money. And Prince Amukamara. Sounds like a Black Panther character. 2 guys that are going to start at the cornerback position, and that's going to make them better right away. That's an interesting division because Detroit is always kind of there. Detroit's like the default winner if all the other teams screw up in the NFC North. But Packers are going to be good just because Aaron Rodgers, assuming he plays plenty of games. And the Vikings, I'll get to the Vikings nonsense later, but interesting division. Good job, Chicago. Good job. I know it seems basic. I'm really praising them for doing the obvious thing, but we'll talk about some other teams later that did not do the obvious thing, did quite the contrary. So, you get a gold star, Chicago. Good job. The first time in a long time the Cleveland Browns have been in a winners category. They're a winner of the NFL free agency, in my book. Because they're trying, They're trying something in all these moves. It's like watching. It's like when a kid ties their shoes for the first time. It's like, oh wow, he did it! Wow, good job. Good. You want a cookie? They're so bad that it's a very small bar for them to jump over. They can just kind of step on over it. It's not very. I'm gonna turn down the gain because I'm blowing people out with my audio. It's not a very high bar to cross. It's easy, but hey, they did it. They add Tyrod Taylor in a trade, Carlos Hyde, 3 years, 15, which isn't terrible for that guy. Again, another guy who actually needs to stay on the field. And Jarvis Landry in a trade. Also, big flex. Oh, not really flex, but props to Cleveland for conducting those trades for Tyrod and Jarvis without giving up a first-rounder, one of those coveted first-round picks. I'm not saying those guys are worth a first-rounder. I'm just saying that, if you're Cleveland, you'd probably find a way to screw that up. in years past. You know, you do a package deal, like, I'll give you this and this, and it's like, don't make it complicated, dude. Just get the things. I don't know. Here's the thing. My voice I can't, like, pronounce words right now. You have no idea. To prep for this, because I tried to do the show, like, 4 other times, and I kept, like, like, mumbling over my words like an idiot. So I started playing Kanye music to, like, Yeezy, of course. It gotta be Yeezy. And I just started rapping along to it to, like, get myself in the like, when, like, news anchors do, like, vocal exercises where they open their mouths all the way up to pronounce, like, to make sure they don't screw up on air. My version of that is just rapping along to whatever pops up in my Apple Music on shuffle. Happened to be Yeezy, of course. And I did that for, like, 5 separate times because I can't get my words together. It's killing me. You know. This is what 3 weeks does to you. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, Cleveland Browns. Tyrod is an interesting thing. I don't know what... I have no confidence that Cleveland actually knows what they're doing. Just because it looks like it and they're in the winners category doesn't mean that they really know what they're doing. It just means it appears that they know what they're doing. Those are two very different things. Like, Tyrod Taylor he's almost certainly too good of a quarterback to be a backup. Right? Oh, my God. Oh, I'm getting the Syracuse sickness back. Good God. He's certainly too good, I'd say, to be a backup. But they would be dumb not to draft Sam Darnold with, like, the first overall pick, right? So, what's going on there? Are they going to draft Darnold and then sit him behind Tyrod for a year? I don't think Darnold's that kind of player. I think you can just start him. Like, you got him Jarvis, that's a good weapon. You got him Carlos Hyde, that's a good weapon. You lost Carl, but you still got Hyde. You know, he could play. So, what does this mean exactly? What does this mean? I don't know. But I guess we'll find out. We could talk about that forever, but I have plenty of other winners and losers to get through. My audio's all over the place. Another winner. Jacksonville Jaguars. Another organization that hasn't been synonymous with victory until very recently. They addressed the offense, which is, of course, their biggest concern after last year. They signed Marquise Lee, Dante Moncrief, who's like a classic, like, end of your roster fantasy player. I've had him a couple times, and he's always sucked. He's never good. He might be better now that they don't have Allen Robinson to take up catches, or Allen Hurns. Austin Seferian Jenkins, I like him. He's an underground fantasy pick as well. I'm going to do a whole fantasy. I'm going to start prepping for fantasy writers based on all the stuff I'm seeing here. They addressed the offense. Good on ya. And they kept the defense intact. They didn't really lose anybody that significant, thank God. Because that was the only thing that kept them going as far as they were. They still trusted and believed in Blake Bortles, which shows that they're not really that good. Again, this is like a Cleveland situation. It looks good. There's a bit of Cleveland and Chicago in here because they did the obvious, like Chicago, and I'm praising them for it because teams are very dumb. And like Cleveland, they're just like doing their thing. They're keeping the defense intact, addressing the offense, and yet I still have a ton of questions. Because Cleveland is Cleveland and Jacksonville is Jacksonville. But hey, you're in the winners list for now. You're starting on a good note, Jacksonville. God bless. Another winner, Los Angeles Rams. 2 dope cornerbacks, Aqib Talib and Marcus Peters. Still can't believe they got Marcus Peters. That was, wow. Marcus Peters is, again, I talked about this before. He's young and he's really, really good. And he's at one of the most significant skill positions in football. Really hard to get a guy like that. Getting Marcus Peters is like the defensive equivalent of the 49ers stealing Jimmy Garoppolo. Basically, obviously quarterback's more important, but as far as defense goes, like, dude, there's a young stud on the outside and you're just going to get him for like nothing. It's incredible. Maybe even a little bit better, like on the defensive side compared to like the Garoppolo signing, because he's still on his rookie deal. They had to pay Jimmy G like ridiculous amounts of money. Like they don't have to. Los Angeles doesn't have to do that with Peters just yet. They make their defense that was already great even greater because the world needed that, and it also makes Jared Goff's job that much easier. I don't like how people continuously put Jared Goff, like, in that echelon. It's like, all the great young quarterbacks. Oh, you got Carson Wentz and Deshaun Watson and, whoever else. And then like, oh, you got Jared Goff too. Jared Goff isn't that great. It's just that the team around him could not be. I don't think there's a better team. Like, if Jared Goff was looking at the league, like he could play for any team. Like, I don't think there's a better environment for him to play in than Los Angeles, because he's like, that's where he played in college, basically. He's got the great defense, who like barely need any points from him, and he has plenty of offensive weapons. He's like potentially the best running back in the league, in Gurley. So, I mean, hey, rich get richer. Jared Goff's job gets easy. See what I'm saying? I gotta rap more songs so I can got the garbles out of my mouth. Jared Goff's job gets even easier. Tonight at 6. Another winner. This isn't really a winner, but I just want to put him in here. New England Patriots. Because we have two, count them, two. You missed the desk slap, don't you? Two candidates, prime candidates, for the classic Belichick retread projects. You know where he takes guys who are like, I don't know, either character issues or just not playing that great or older on other teams. He brings them in and revamps them and they kill it for like at least a season. Look at like, what's his face? Martellus Bennett did really good for him after he was like kicked to the curb. Really, I mean, like, no one knew who Deion Lewis was before Belichick started implementing him. James White was a nobody. Does it a lot with running backs. But, I mean, hey, even wide receivers. Like, he tried it with, like, Philip Dorsett last year. He does this a lot. Now we have two prime candidates in free agency. They add Jeremy Hill for a year, $1.5 million, cheap as dirt, and Cordarrelle Patterson, the, like, gadget wide receiver guy. They got him in a trade. Two prime candidates. They love their gadget guys. They can really. One of these two is going to be like a surprisingly good player for them, and especially considering the Patriots just lost Deion Lewis. They kept Rex Burkhead, and I guess they still have James White. But Jeremy Hill's like the ground guy. James White and Burkhead are like other like they're like pass catching guys. Hill's going to take a lot of the carries, I would imagine. And they got him for like nothing. And he had an awesome year for the Bengals before like all the other like nonsense like happened. I don't even know what happened. He just stopped playing well, seemingly. Maybe because he plays for Cincinnati. But hey, total possibility for a Belichick retread project right there. Cordarrelle Patterson as well. He was like this highly touted like receiving prospect at college who basically has just become a return specialist for all intents and purposes. I mean, he's clearly got some kind of talent, and I think no one could exploit that better than Belichick. Hey, man, they're doing stuff over there. Again, they're not dead. Patriots aren't dead yet, like I said. Not dead yet. So are they actually a winner of free agency compared to the other teams? No. But they're just a favorite of mine that I wanted to share with everybody. Page flip. Another winner, chicken dinner. New Orleans Saints. Didn't do a ton. They kept Drew Brees. But, I mean, like, what else do they have to do? Like, they could have won the Super Bowl last year. They really could have. You could argue they were the second best team in football, behind the Philadelphia Eagles, of course, as I look at my championship hat that I brought with me, that I wear everywhere, just to flex on Bulls. Kept them for 2 years, $50 million. They didn't really need to do a ton. They have basically the same team as last year. And it was I believe good enough to win a title. So they're just going to take some more shots at this thing. The only reason they weren't in the NFC Championship game was because of a ridiculous fluke. So I would say they can get at least that far next year. I don't see anyone else like coming up big in the NFC as of right now. So they did a good job. Again, I'm rewarding the obvious. It was obvious for them to just keep Drew and just do what they did last year. And they're doing it. So gold star. New York Giants, another winner. They addressed their most significant areas of need. Again, doing the obvious. Jonathan Stewart, 2 years, $6.9 million. Addressed their offensive line with Nate Solder. And They got Alec Ogletree in a trade to help the linebacking core. Those are the three biggest issues. They had no running game, they had no offensive line, and they had no linebackers. Now they have one more of each, so congratulations. Although it is a bit concerning that they appear, at least, to be building around Eli, like getting rid of JPP, like that kind of move. I don't know. I don't know about that. That's a bold strategy. Eli's not very good. He's not that good. I mean, he's not that bad compared to like some of the other people starting around the league, but like, dude, you have a top like 4 pick. What do you take a quarterback? Just take a quarterback. I mean, are they going to take Saquon? They might. I don't know. They might. Maybe they like Wayne Gallman. I've heard I was going to say I heard people say. I heard one specific Giants fan say they like Wayne Gallman. So whatever that means. I don't know. I don't want to get too into the draft stuff because I'm going to cover that in a separate show as we get closer towards the like middle end of April. I'm going to have to like buckle down and do my research and then, tell you guys what's going to happen because I'm never wrong. Another winner, who but the Philadelphia Eagles, of course. The reigning Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles basically have put any opposing quarterbacks on their schedule this season on suicide watch because their defensive line is it seems unfair. It seems like they've done like a Golden State Warriors thing where like, how is this allowed? Yeah, you already had Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. How are you also allowed to get Kevin Durant? How is this fair? Well, by adding Michael Bennett and Haloti Ngata, they added Kevin Durant. This is no longer fair. I mean, Michael Bennett may or may not be going to prison. So, there's that. But we're going to see how that plays out. But he's a professional athlete. How many like professional athletes actually go to prison? Not that many. It would have been better if I could just say, how many go to prison? None. I can't really say. Not many, Not like, he may or may not have trampled a paraplegic woman. Who among us has not done such a thing? The first non-sinner may throw stones, We'll see how that works. But hey, even without Michael Bennett, still pretty good. Pretty good. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait. Plus, they signed Mike Wallace, which is an interesting... This is like... Them signing Mike Wallace is just further proof that Howie Roseman is never satisfied. What's that like? Is that like a beer company where the like slogan is never stop, never settle? I'm going to Google that right now. All right, this is like... You're not getting this kind of tech everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. I have... That's right. I have a computer right in front of me. Let me get this shit out of here. Actually, I have 2 computers in front of me. All right, never stop. All right, now it's scroll me down the page. Safari is so stupid. Why? Why can't I just have Chrome on this computer? This is like I'm in the studio, so it's like a school computer. What? Oh, Firefox. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I love how my browsers named after animals. All right, never stop, never settle. Hennessy! I knew it! Henny! How does this work into what I was just saying? What was I saying? Hennessy? What? How did I get to Hennessy? What's going on here? I can look at all my notes. What? Oh! Howie Roseman is the Hennessy of general managers in the NFL. Because he never stops and he never settles. I think Nas does commercials for them. That's unrelated. Listen. Howie Roseman is never satisfied and he never settles. That's why I got Mike Wallace. Because, yeah, we got rid of Torrey Smith, who sucked. And we were ready to bring up this young bull, Mac Hollins, who plays for us. And he was going to be good. And we're like, all right, cool. This is a fine plan. Mac Hollins is ready to, slide up in the roster. And he'll take that position. Howie's like, no! I want Mike Wallace for half the money I was going to pay Torrey Smith for double the production. Cash money. What a genius. What a beautiful, beautiful man that Howie Roseman is. Last winner, Tennessee Titans. Again, this is like a Patriots situation. They're not really a winner. I just wanted to share them with everybody. They're trying an extremely bold strategy. They're doing a reverse Belichick retread thing. They're trying to out Belichick, which, you know, has always worked swimmingly for everybody in the past. They took Dion Lewis and Malcolm Butler, 2 former Patriots players, from the Patriots and added them onto their team. Now, the Patriots really only get rid of guys like that, with the exception of maybe like Chandler Jones, once they are confident that they're done and they're not able to really hurt them or like help, like Jamie Collins, they did the same thing. But Tennessee is like, hey, we'll take both your retreads because we think you guys are old and senile. And we're going to, I don't know. I mean, they're done with DeMarco Murray, so I guess Dion Lewis is like the pass catcher for Derrick Henry. And Malcolm Butler is going to play, I guess, along... Oh, actually, Logan Ryan, I'm pretty sure, who was another former Patriots player they got in years past. So they help their team, as well as try... I mean, maybe this is like a genuine win. Maybe this isn't just a Brad special, trying to find the diamond in the crap. Yeah. We're going to see how that works. I mean, there's a possibility, because the Patriots are done with them, that they're just going to suck and be entirely unimpactful. But hey, it's going to be fun to watch. And there's a couple late round fantasy picks, or at least Dion Lewis. God, I'm so stuffed up. Now we move into the losers of NFL free agency. First loser, Arizona Cardinals. They must have been playing football with a blindfold for the last, 8 years. Because they are still seemingly completely unaware that Sam Bradford is not, good. We'll just hang on that for a second. Sam Bradford's not good, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. I'm sure you probably knew that. But they didn't. And they signed him to a deal, legitimately. 2 years, $40 million. I think like $50 million that's guaranteed. Why don't you just burn a stack of $15 million a la the Joker in The Dark Knight? Like, what? Why? What are you getting out of that? Here's the problem. They're going to play Sam Bradford next year because everybody else on that roster who can play quarterback. And actually, this might bode well for... I'm in fantasy mode now already. This bodes well for David Johnson. Wow. Good God, I got to calm myself down. Oh. They're going to be bad, but they're not going to be bad enough to get like a really high draft pick because Sam Bradford's going to it's going to make them good enough to beat the even worse teams in the league. So I mean why? Why would you do this to yourself? They were in a weird spot where they had an aging quarterback and then Carson Palmer retired. But I mean, dude, just tank year. Just pull like a Colts going for Andrew Luck. Just tank. Tank and get a quarterback next year. I don't know why they did this. Incoming dumpster fire. Put it on watch. Another loser. Denver Broncos. I mean, another quarterback situation. Good luck having Case Keenum, everybody. I don't know if you heard of it. Case Keenum, the young quarterback. No. Case Keenum. Good luck having Case Keenum as your, franchise savior. That's the spot they're putting him in. 2 years, $36 million. He'll be okay. Here's what's really gonna happen. This whole experiment is gonna end with Case Keenum putting up basically the same numbers as Trevor Siemian or whoever else the Broncos have tried to start last year. And John Elway is going to have to get a check for Alzheimer's because he's going to think he's living the same day over and over again. And he's gone legitimately insane. Why did I do this? This is just the same quarterback. Okay. Yeah, it is. Oh, okay. Mr. Elway, your appointment. What is this? Why? You still have a pretty good defense. I know you lost to Lee. Good job, genius. But you still certainly have a more than adequate defense and talented wide receivers. And can't find a quarterback. So, tank. All this NBA stuff I've followed has really gotten me into tank mode. I'm very pro-tank, if you can't tell. This is just not going to work out that great, unfortunately. Even in that division who's teetering on the fates of different things for different teams, they're not going to... Yeah, if you're trying to make the playoffs and you're riding everything on Case Keenum, I don't think it's going to work. I know he played really well for the Vikings last year until he got stomped by the Eagles in the NFC Championship. But I just don't this is not the guy you want to build a thing around. You know, maybe they're like, well, his age compared to the age of a lot of our defensive studs is similar, so they're all gonna ride off into the sunset at similar times, and then we're gonna do a rebuild. Then, okay, but Case Keenum, really? Ugh, not a fan. Green Bay Packers, also a loser. They traded for Deshaun Kaiser. Yes, you heard that right. They traded for Deshaun Kaiser, and they signed Jimmy Graham 3 years, $30 million. Deshaun Kaiser is going to end up playing at some point this year. I don't think they realize that, but I do. Aaron Rodgers is not going to play 16 games, which means Deshaun Kaiser is going to play some games. Like, really, you can find a better backup than this man? I know he played for Cleveland, but still, dude, like, he was really bad. Really bad. Nobody talks about it because, well, they just assume he'd be really bad, but if you watched anything, good God, man, he's terrible. Those are like this. You're just chalking up L's for yourself. You're not giving yourself a chance. You got to find a better backup than that. Especially when you know Aaron Rodgers isn't going to play every game this year. Jimmy Graham is not that good anymore, also. Nobody realizes he's a big name, and he actually put up, like, he had, like, a high red zone efficiency or something similar to that in Seattle. And, by the way, of course he did, because he's a giant man, and nobody else can catch balls for Seattle besides Doug Baldwin, and he's going to draw double coverages. So, Jimmy Graham gets a lot of red zone targets, and he's going to bring some of them down. He's not that good anymore. I read something like in the offseason before last year about Jimmy Graham, like, yeah, I'm going to train, I'm going to do this, this is my life, I'm going to be really good. And I bought into it, hook, line, and sinker, and I was like, I'm drafting this guy in the 4th round of fantasy. He's going to be a stud. And I did, or I tried to, and I got him in one of my leagues, and he was god-awful. I tried to trade for him, too. I was offering up, like, crazy packages. I could do a whole thing just about fantasy, but again, I'm not doing that yet. Stay on topic, Brad. Good God. He's not that good. They're overpaying him. They're going to see how he's not that good when he starts playing. I don't like the signing. Simple and plain. Another loser. The Chiefs of Kansas City. This is just a classic bad signing of an overrated skill position player. Signing Sammy Watkins to, let me find it, 3 years, $48 million. In parentheses, when I wrote that in my notes, in parentheses, I put next to that, yikes. Because too much money for a guy who has been in... Look, there was the argument on the Bills, like, yeah, their quarterback sucks. Like, they don't have anybody else. He's not going to get, like, he's not able to... He was injured. He's actually really good. Okay, goes to the Rams, has a great situation, and he's still not that good. So, the proof is there. You're no longer taking a flyer on the guy because of his situation. He's just not that great. It's not the worst thing in the world, because I guess they're trying to do a Howie Roseman thing where, like, they have a quarterback on their rookie deal in Mahomes, and they're just going to try and, like, overpay guys because they don't really care because they're, now's the time to go for the Super Bowl. But, like, God, dude. Bad signing. They're gonna every time he has a game where he has, like, 2 catches for 17 yards, they're going to wonder, why did we give him all that money? And that's going to happen a couple times next season. Another loser, New York Jets. What's the plan? Like, what are they trying to do? At quarterback, specifically. You have signed Josh McCown, 1 year, $10 million, and Teddy Bridgewater, 1 year, $5 million, and you're still saying you're going to draft a quarterback. Are you? Are you for sure? I don't know. I have no idea what's going on here. I mean, Josh McCown actually wasn't god-awful for them in a couple games last year. And I feel like Teddy Bridgewater is still undervalued, and he can actually start for some teams if he's anything like... God, I'm getting freaking phone calls. Shut up. Doing a show. So inconsiderate. Teddy Bridgewater's not terrible. I don't think he is, unless his injury has totally derailed his career. And, hey, that's possible, but... Like, why are you playing around with this? Just draft a quarterback, dude. Just draft one. What? I don't know. We're going to have to... I mean... I really hope they do, for their sake, for the sake of the fans. They're just going to draft the guy. Don't mess around. Just do it. Just do it. Other than that, actually, the rest of these moves are not so terrible. Isaiah Crowell I like, 3 years, $12 million. They got Terrell Pryor. They got Trumaine Johnson, cornerback. not the worst moves. I think I'm okay with that. But again, it all comes down to quarterback. So you got to figure that out. Another loser, speaking of quarterbacks, Oakland Raiders. I like Derek Carr a lot. But the moves of signing Doug Martin and Jordy Nelson are the most John Gruden thing of all time, potentially. This is like, there's shades of when Phil Jackson took over the Knicks and built an all-star team from 2010. This is like what he's doing. They're building an all-star team from like 2012 or something. Like, why? It's just odd to me. They're not like, I guess they're not the worst moves on this list, but I feel like Doug Martin's done. And that's going to be really weird with him and Marshawn back there. And Jordy Nelson, I don't think he's done, but I think they already have kind of low expectations for him, but his performance is going to be even lower than that, so he's still going to undermine that. I don't know. I'm not confident in that, in those moves. I just want to see Derek Carr do well. I like Derek Carr a lot. I want him to succeed because Jordy basically replaces Michael Crabtree. And I guess, is that an upgrade? I don't know. How much of an upgrade is that? Jordy Nelson and Michael Crabtree. I guess it's an upgrade. Maybe. The fact that I have to question that does not bode well for that move. Another loser, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm just flipping. I've been whipping in the kitchen. Now, most people are probably going to like the moves that the Buccaneers made, but I'm going hipster on this one. Vinny Curry is too expensive at 3 years, $27 million for how good he actually is. I know that as an Eagles fan. Cameron Brate is overrated. They signed him 6 years for $41 million. And the only reason anyone actually knows who he is or has ever heard of him before is because he's like a continuously overvalued fantasy player. And again, it all comes back to fantasy. And Jason Pierre-Paul has a club for hand. This is not going to go that great for Tampa Bay. I don't think these are the... What the hell's going on outside? People... Oh my god, this guy's going to run over by a car. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but animals. Listen. These moves were not the difference, are not solving the problems that Tampa Bay had last year. They're not, making Jameis Winston eat more dubs, as he likes to do. I just don't see this as being the big difference maker for them. They're going to be like basically the same team as last year, just with, and people are like, oh my god, their defense, oh my god, they still have Gerald McCoy, still have like all these guys. Defensive line is going to be amazing. I don't buy it. I am certainly questionable Jason Pierre-Paul, and I know Vinny Curry. He's pretty good, but he's probably going to get exposed when he's playing on a line that doesn't have Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham on the other side. If I had to guess. Last loser, Washington Redskins. I don't think Alex Smith is that terrible. I think he's underrated. I think Kirk Cousins is a little bit overrated. I think Alex Smith is a little bit underrated. So I think they're, like, he's, for all intents and purposes, he's probably like the same skill-wise as Kirk Cousins, just for less money, which is good for them. But they lost Pryor, and they lost Terrell Pryor, wide receiver, and they added Paul Richardson for 5 years, $40 million at the same position. That seems like a downgrade to me by a little bit, but again, not a huge difference. The problem is they're basically the same team as last year. They didn't really change a ton. They changed players at important positions, but the skill difference between the players they used to have and the players that they now have is not very significant, which makes me think, all right, the team last year sucked, and there's not really a big difference between last year's team and this year's team, so the logical conclusion is you're going to suck again. I mean, they had injuries and stuff, so maybe they'll be better. Again, in my giant-ass NFL preview, I'll have to go through that. Not impressed off the top. Some other notable moves, I didn't want to put these in winners or losers. Baltimore Ravens, they added some wide receivers, Michael Crabtree and John Brown. I mean, yay, wide receivers, because they had none last year. But Flacco still sucks, so, like, again, it all comes down to quarterbacks. Your ceiling is your quarterback. Your team's ceiling is 100% your quarterback. Then their quarterback still sucks. So it's like, I mean, cool. Yay. Good on you, Baltimore. Nothing's going to change. Houston Texans add the Honey Badger. I thought that was notable. And I think that helps their defense, of course, but, like, the man is very prone to injuries, and it's going to remain to be seen how much impact he has, or depending on how much he plays on like, how much he's able to be on the field. I think the Texans are still a really good team next year, regardless of what happens, because I love Deshaun Watson, and again, that's a preview thing, but they're going to be pretty good. This is like a good... They didn't pay him that much, I don't think. Again, oh my god, I'm flipping through all my papers. 1 year, $7 million, yeah. Didn't pay him much. You can, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You're not bankrupt. That's a decent move by them. All right, maybe I should have put him in winners. I'm sorry, guys. Miami Dolphins. The ageless Frank Gore is now he's so old. This is like a bad like comedy joke. You're about Frank Gore. Frank Gore. That guy's so old. He's retiring in Florida before his career's over. Hey. Sorry. I will be here all week, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Try the fish. They got old man Frank Gore. Cool, I guess. The fact that he's still playing is still astounding. Definitely not as good as Jay Ajayi. Thanks for giving him to the Eagles. Idiots. Love it. And they signed Brock Osweiler. So just so everyone knows, that's where Brock Osweiler is playing next year. If you didn't know already, he's playing Miami. I would look for Miami next year to get desperate with Tannehill and go to Brock Osweiler in like a last-ditch effort in like week 14 or something. I think that'd be hilarious. I'm really looking forward to that. They also got Danny Amendola from the Patriots, which was like Tom Brady is like a funeral for him, basically. That should be interesting to see how a guy like that, like one of these small white Patriots receivers, plays on another team. Doesn't happen that often. What happened with not Edelman, Wes Welker, but he had like the other greatest QB of like our lifetime playing, throwing him the ball in Peyton Manning. So now the small white guy has a terrible quarterback. These are the things I care about. Notable Minnesota Vikings. Look, they, I guess they're thinking clearly. No one has ever regretted the amount of money they guaranteed a football player before, so give them all of it. Give Kirk Cousins $84 million. And don't look twice. Like, fully guaranteed? Really? What? First, I'm a little bit pissed off at this, because first, what does this do to the quarterback market? What are other quarterbacks who are not that great in Kirk Cousins, like that his like skill level, are they also going to ask for fully guaranteed money? Or is this going to screw other teams just because Minnesota decided I'm going to give them all the money I have? Just irresponsible. Irresponsible. What? There are other quarterbacks who deserve as much money as this who are way better than Kirk Cousins. Again, this is a similar situation to, what was I saying? The team with like a new quarterback is like the same. This is like the Redskins. You get rid of Kirk Cousins, you add Alex Smith, you're basically the same. Minnesota Vikings. You get rid of Case Keenum, you add Kirk Cousins, you're basically the same. By the way, you didn't lose in the playoffs last year because of Case Keenum. He had one bad throw, really. You lost because your defense forgot how to play football for the most important game of the season at that time. You didn't really need to do this. You could have just kept the money. This is a very bold strategy. Them doing this is telling the world, we think Kirk Cousins is that much better than Case Keenum. And the rest of the world is like, he's not really. Is he though? He's not really. I'm not a fan of this. I think they could have just they could have done what the Saints did. Just keep it the same pretty much. I mean, they were good enough on paper to win. They just didn't perform. They didn't execute. That's all it came down to. Really, really just weird. Then the last notable move. San Francisco 49ers, they get Jerick McKinnon, who I like, another fantasy guy, who's basically going to take up like Carlos Hyde's role probably, and Richard Sherman. You could go either way on the Richard Sherman signing. I know people who hate it, people who like it. 3 years, 21. That's not terrible. It's not a ton of money for a cornerback. I think he's still pretty good. He's not like burning it down the field like he used to, but he's certainly skilled. He certainly knows what he's doing out there. I think a lot of cornerbacks are just like freak athletes who make like big plays. I think Richard Sherman is very, very technical and very intentional about the movements he makes. And I think he's just a guy you kind of want to have. I think he's another one of these people who's like more than like a dumb football player. He's a very smart guy. I think that's just like a good guy to have on the roster. So I lean on the side of that's a good move. But it still could go either way when the season actually happens. And really, again, neither one of those moves is going to change a ton because Jimmy G is coming, ladies and gentlemen. Jimmy Garoppolo. Hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your husband, because Jimmy Garoppolo is coming for that NFC title. And don't I know it, as an Eagles fan. Those are my 8 pages of notes. Good God. That's NFL Free Agency wrapped up in a nice 40-some minute package for you. Now, next week, I don't know what I'm going to do. Probably going to do something. Figure out something. You heard it here first. I'm going to do something. I got to get back to writing, man. I love doing it, but it's just, it's so stressful. I have so much work ahead of me this week before I can even think about the podcast or writing or anything like that, that I can't imagine what life is going to be like when I'm done that work. Like, I know that day is coming, but I can't picture an environment where this amount of work is not, like, weighing down on my shoulders. In a very remedial example, it was like, there was a period of time, I couldn't imagine a day when Halo 5 would come out, and I would be able to play Halo 5. But that day came. I'm level, like, 75 in it or something. Beat the campaign multiple times. So, I mean, it happened. I got to play Halo 5. The day came, I bought it, I downloaded it, I played it. I played Halo 5. But there was time. It's like, oh my God, it's that far away. I can't imagine sitting down and actually playing that game. It seems so far away. That's how I feel about this work right now. But again, I got to the Halo 5 day. I'm going to get to the day where this work's done. That's what I got to keep telling myself. Because otherwise, I'm going to find the tallest building in Syracuse. I'm going to jump off of it because this is ridiculous. Whew. That's my little self-therapy that I subject you all to. All 3.5 of you. And myself. But yeah. Oh, by the way, this is coming out on a Sunday because, again, tried to record Friday. Couldn't do it because I had stuff that was due for, school, that ridiculous thing I do. Like, at some ungodly hour, and I had to do it, like, nonstop. And I just worked till I went blind. And I'm like, all right, now I should probably go to bed. And then Saturday, I came in here. I was in the studio yesterday trying to finish my notes and work on this. And normally the studio is open until because I always record on Fridays. On weekdays, the studio is open from like 7 a.m. till midnight. On weekends, the hours are like noon until 10 o'clock at night. So I would have recorded probably from like 11 to midnight, but they kicked me out at like 9:45 because they're like, yeah, we close at 10. I'm like, oh my God. So took me 2 trips to the studio just to record this for everybody. But here it is. It's done. And, yeah. See you next time.